Good afternoon, sir. I am Renami Esinco, your reporter for today. First, the role of selling and sales management in marketing. Introduction. In an age when advancing technology has dramatically increased the speed at which goods and services can be produced and distributed and has facilitated the ease with which organizations can communicate, it is still the level of human performance that is the most variable factor in the efficient functioning of a firm with its customers. Sales operation represent this link between a firm and its customers at its most direct point of contact. Sales operation are where there are action of business takes place and represent a vital revenue generating function. Sales operation are where the action in the business takes place and represent. So today, sales operation represent not only personal selling but also range of customer contact positions including telephone sales, customer service or technical advisors as well as the traditional salespeople. The internet and other forms of electronic communication will have a significant effect on the way sales operations are managed. And this will represent one of the great challenge for the sales manager of tomorrow despite the crucial importance of sales operation to the firm courses in business management and in marketing seems at best to marginalize the subject of sales and at the companies being fully aware that sales operation linking the firm with its customers is an area that needs to be carefully monitored and exceptionally well managed if the enterprise is to succeed. By way of introduction, this chapter aims to first help the reader understand the role of selling in marketing context. Define personal selling and sales management. Explain the role that salespeople perform. So, four, illustrate the responsibilities involved in the management of sales operations. Identify the organizational interfaces between sales and other functions within the firm. So, since introduction is to this sales operation represent not only personal selling. The role is first. The salesperson job is to make customers aware of the problem in order to convince them that they have a need to modernize the production process. In so doing, the salesperson will have added value to the customer's business by reducing cost and created a win-to-win situation for their company and the customer. The second, define personal selling and sales management. Personal selling is known as face-to-face selling in which one person who is the salesman tries to convince the customer in buying a product. It is a promotional method by which salesperson uses his or her skills and abilities in an attempt to make a sale. The third is explain the role that salespeople perform. Sales management. Sales management, it is all about managing all activities related with the sales of the business. It involves marketing, advertising, pricing, or etc. Through sales management, only a company keeps track record to target sales and actual sales. It involves management of sales operation, formulation of sales strategy, and preparing sales analysis. Illustrate the responsibilities involved the management of sales operation. First, marketing segmentation. Second, marketing concept. Third, marketing mix. Fourth, personal selling. Fifth, product positioning. Sixth, sales force interface. Seventh, sales management. 8. Salesmanship. 9. Selling environment. And 10. Strategy. And the last is tactics. So let's proceed to 1.2 types of selling. So transaction selling. Transaction selling works well with simple commodity products since the product is generally available from multiple sources and it's indistinguishable from competitive product. The sale is made of price and availability. So where can the buyer convenient get the product at the lowest cost? So sales reps generally have minimal interaction with the customer. Marketing typically informs the customer and drives demand. So transaction selling is most often found in the retail environment. So almost makita mo gid nato sa retail environment where the customer has a good idea of what he want and ask salespeople simple or clarify question. So let's proceed. So relationship selling. Relationship selling. So relationship selling is usually involves simple or moderately complex product. Often the ideas environment involve larger unit volumes or greater revenue. So in a relationship selling model, the salesperson develops professional relationships with buyers at their target customers. Relationships are typically based on familiarity, likability, and ultimately trust. So when a customer has a buying need, so the buyer explores the market shopping for competitive prices and availability. So when the buyer has found reasonable purchase option, she offers the relationship salesperson a last look at the opportunity. So if the salesperson can meet or beat the competing offers, he will win the deal. If not, the buyer will purchase from one of the competitors. So pwede siya mo deal dito sa pikas nga competitors if even dili tumpak iyang kon or dili siya deal win bitaw iyang product for that nga ma-purchase. Solution selling. So when we say solution selling, as the name implies, solve a customer business problem, it often involves creating a complex solution that incorporates products, services, and technology. The focus of solution selling is on business needs. The buyer's decision criteria are based on value. Usually in solution selling, the salesperson has developed intimate knowledge and understanding of the customer's environment, industry, and business. So, dapat sa selling naa man gyud solution. So, dapat kana nga kuan is masolusyonan siya to to make the customers ang mga services sa technology is mo-focus bitaw siya for the only one salesperson mo to knowledge of selling in kuan. So understand dapat imong sabton ang pagbaligya, dapat naa sa solution. So partnership selling. So in a partnership selling arrangement, the seller becomes an important part of customer's team. The salesperson in selling a complex solution that is integral to customer success. An example, so na example dere, of a sales partnership may be the sales of GE jet engines to Bayong. So the success of both GE aircraft engines and Bayong depends on the engines fitting on that working perfectly with the Bayong airframe. So this type of sale relies on long-term valued partnership between both parties. Open partnership sales take years to develop. So kung madungan nato is partnership selling. So kanang two person is sila nga magpartner sila sa ilang like company mga kuan na dapat need jud ang partnership. So para mo succeed ilang company. So characteristic of salesperson. Introduction. Many sales management problem could be eliminated or at least mitigated if a successful sales type could be found. This would imply the successful sales. People are born, have acquired the necessary skills, or possibly have been self-taught by experience. The sales manager's task is to find such people in this chapter. The aim is first to review previous work on the desirable characteristic of salespeople. Second, to separate reality from might in the ideal sales type. Third, to identify personality, knowledge, and skills required in different selling jobs. To evaluate the status, position, and role conflict inherent in sales job. And the last is to make assessment of the key determinants in higher sales performers. So, enthusiasm. So, salespeople must be enthusiastic about their job, their product, their company, and themselves. So, believe that this was major characteristic which Bittinger in 1949 believed that this was the major characteristic which turned failure into success. In selling, one problem with this trait is the difficulty in defining and measuring an individual's enthusiasm. So, sa enthusiasm is nadira makita nimo di ang fundamental personality traits sa exhibit by the person despite failures and rejection attach the next call or task. So, although not the same as hardworking, dili siya pareho. The two are often found combination. The current emphasis on customer satisfaction and long-term relationship suggests that job involvement can be related to enthusiasm, but this concept has so as that job involved can be enthusiast, but this concept has so far proved difficult to measure in a sales context. So people who work long hours, so perseverance and determination, and so the belong siya sa enthusiasm. It is suggested are more likely to be successful salesperson. So confidence. So most of mga salesperson is naa may confidence if kanang when it comes to business. Those people who possess higher level of self-confidence are more likely to enjoy selling. So, and be successful. So, by itself, confidence is not enough, but the belief in one's own ability and belief in product and company are conveyed to buyers with positive effect. So, it can be agreed that there will be times that situation where salesperson will have to adjust their proposal or presentation and be able to make quick important decision. A lack of confidence can lose opportunities and ultimately sales. So dapat kung kuan ka kanang sales kanang negosyante ka dapat na kay confidence, dapat dili lang kay negative na apoy positive. So next, intelligence. While there will be some desirable minimum level of intelligence required for selling, there appears to be no evidence to suggest that higher levels of intelligence correlate with higher levels of sales performance. Conventional measures of intelligence may not be appropriate means of assessment, and higher levels of intellectual ability may create additional problems. Salespeople who overanalyze or critique may lack conviction in selling mental and verbal agility, for example, would seems to be preferable to write or analytic skills. So dapat conventional measures dapat ma-measure nimo ug appropriate imo mga assessment into the higher level, dili lang kay mo create kag kanang ability problems dapat masolusyonan na siya like katong gingan ganiya solution ceiling same ra sila murag naa sila differences so salespeople over analysis dapat imong pag-analyze is dili siya makakuha sa lack of convention. Self-worth. So know your self-worth. So most of the businessman or businesswoman is kanang naa mag self-worth. So the ability and self-worth is the ability and desire to be motivated by non pecuniary incentives such as status, self-esteem, and sociability seems to play a part effective selling. In a recent survey of industrial distributors, salespeople, the most important motivating factors were rated as satisfaction with doing a good job and meeting family responsibility. Oh, most of the salesperson people is kuan sila kanang motivating in factors rated. So most sa ila is mas na satisfy sila sa mga binuhatan nga maayo sa ilang pag like job and sa mga meeting family responsibilities naa sila yung mga kanang bisag busy sila sa ilang trabaho naagyapon sila kon silang family. So knowledge, the problem of trying to classify salespeople according to the prescribed list of necessary and desirable attributes has already been referred to, especially when a range of different situations may demand very different solution. So if knowledgeable gid kay ka nga tao, makuanan man gid nimo ang masolusyonan man gid na nimo ang problem. So to some extent this situation will always be product, company, market, and ended customer specific, and therefore generalized theories concerning the necessary characteristics remain unproven knowledge of concerning the product company, customers, competitors, market, and terrorists will be important. Research in a number of areas suggests that product knowledge is rated by sales managers to be the most highly rated features in the success salesperson. So next, theories of selling. So the introduction is selling and sales operation are considered doing activities and as salespeople and sales managers can often be heard complaining that's okay in the theory but not in practice, implying that trial and error or personal experience is all that matters. This is a weak form of learning. We need to learn from this experience so that everyone can operate. So diri sa theories of selling is kanang kailangan nato maagian ang error before nato makuha ang final gid siya. So this is weak for learning. We need to learn from the experience. O kailangan nato matun-an nga ang experience so that kita tanan is ma-operate nato ang effective gyud nga objective dana nga chapter. So to do this requires that we conceptualize what is it. So should be doing that then pursue that it is want done. So a model or theory is therefore required. A theory is a systematically related set of statements including some law-like generalizations that is empirically testable. So sa Hunt 1983, in this chapter, we consider theories of buyer behavior attempt to understand the complexities and buyer motivation and make comparison between individuals and organizational buying behavior. We then outline the most popular theories of selling and examine the techniques and process recommended for. So salespeople to do adapt, remember, a theory that does not work in practice is a poor theory. In this chapter, the aim is to understand buyer behavior, to appreciate the complexity of buyer motivation, and how buyers' need and the buying process can be widely different, to differentiate between individuals and organizational buying, to be aware and understand theories of selling, to explain and critique selling techniques, to describe selling process, to outline negotiation practice and separate this from selling. So let's proceed. So the buying process. So just as selling can be viewed as a process, so can buying. Similarly, this process is neither simple, not easy to generalize across different products and a variety of circumstances. So the actual purchase decision or process much decision or the transaction of money for a product or service is only part of this process. So much activity actually, but not only precedes and follows the actual event of a purchase. Some purchases are highly routine, some totally on impulse, some high value and critics must value. The process outlined in figure can compress to stretch is always effective by variety of factors. So need identification. Second, search. Third, evaluation. Fourth, purchase. And third, use. So, personal factors in buyer behavior. The diversity of buyers' decision is the result of the individuality of human beings. Some means of grouping buyer is therefore necessary to be able to market and sell effectively. Various personal characteristics can be identified which help to group buyers into. So, then he is nag-categorize siya. So, age. So, ang age sa buyers, preference, and purchase change with age and between different age groups. So, sa UK, ang population average nila sa age is older because the birth rate in falling and other live longer. Since buyer habit, taste, and purchase change with age and between age group, it is important that salespeople reinforce target market with consistent and relative messages. Marketers have used age as powerful means of segmenting consumers, particularly when combined with family patterns into family life cycles. So first, bachelors. Second, young married, no children. Third, full nest. So first, youngest child in under 6 child full nest. Second, the youngest child over 6. So second, so the full nest is kanang third, the older couples with dependent children. Empty nest, the first children left home, head of a household still in work. Emptiness, second, children left home, head of household retired. Kung mga retired nga left na, wala na sila. Solitary survivor, ng mga survivor, ng older single person, still in work. Solitary survivor, the second, older single person retired. So, so such classification are useful sales and marketing personnel in defining target market and developing appropriate products and sales management. So dinhi is nabilong occupation and income and economic status. So the occupation is buyer behavior strongly influenced by occupation, and as already noted, occupation is a major determinant of status or social class. So again, the ability to match product to groups of similar occupation is important for a range of consumers and industrial products. Personal computers aims at accountant versus marketing personnel, air travel for business executives, and clothing and recreation between blue and white collar workers. Second, income and economic status. So an individual choices of product or service is significantly affected by their level of disposable income, the, their credit rating, and their attitude towards spending. Ultimately, every pound competes against every other pound of income, so that cars compete with home extensions, which compete with holidays, which compete with savings and investment. Again, certain products such as cars are affected by interest rates, and it is important to identify the types of source of finance in this kind of sales. Also important is the way in which income is spent, such as high weekly expenditure of certain manual workers versus the same income of the other groups, going on monthly mortgage, mortgage pattern of family expenditure reveal interesting trend in the way in which different. So that's all for today. So thank you, sir, for today. So dinero lang na ko report. That's all. Thank you.